Bhuvana Mangala.
Jaya
All glories to the effulgent arti of Sri Gurudev, which is going on at the foot of Govardhan, benefiting the whole world.
All glories to Sri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami, who is our Supreme Master, and is like a reservoir of joy.
His graceful long hands touch his knees, and his body is beautiful and transcendental. He is an ocean of infinite genius and transcendental qualities.
You consider your real identity to be non-different from Krishna and Gauranga.
Gauranga.
But But now, to deliver this material world, you have assumed the form of a pure devotee.
You're right in the line of the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Your effulgence, which is comparable to that of the sun, is known throughout the whole world.
There is no one like you to preach pure devotion. You are the spotless moon, and you are merciful like Lord Nityananda.
As a sad people living the world are attaining the tradition of God, but they advance in the same individual.
To teach the essence of the highest knowledge and to preach it all, to preach it to all.
You have mastery over the knowledge of the Vedas, both conceivable and inconceivable. You are the treasure of bona fide conclusions, which can destroy all doubt.
Your glories are being sung in a spiritual world of Goloka, the realm of your pastimes, by your servants who are eternally liberated.
To deliver the fallen souls, you are like a breeze of mercy. You are expect in all service, and you are established in truth and gravity.
Your beautiful and unprecedented writing reflects your deep scholarship. You are always smiling and speaking sweet words, which remind one of your soothing poetry.
You're always straightforward and humble. You're always joyful in association with pure devotees. In spiritual gathering, you're always the best speaker. In every field of life, you always come out victorious.
In the sky of the Gaudiya Vaishnava world, you are a preceptor who is prominent like the sun. You are always fond of service, and your sweet voice inspires others to do service also.
Past, present, and future, for all eternity, we beg your mercy. Only by your mercy will one receive devotional service to Shri Gandharvika Giridhar.
O my Lord, who is the manifestation of the mercy of Sri Gauranga, please be merciful to me. This insignificant servant of yours is always praying this way while worshiping you.
Jaya, Srila Bhakti Sundar, Govinda Dev, Maharaja, ki Jaya.
Reverend Ramon, do you want us to put the bench over here so that you're more in this room? So and then we can seat everyone a little forward. Is that more comfortable for you?
It's pretty like it's all yours. Wow, those are Hercules,
We can do Jai Guru March next RT. It's on page 45 of the songbook. Jaya Guru Maharaja Jati Rajeshwara
Jaya Guru Maharaja Jati Rajeshwara
Shri Bhakti Rakshaka Deva Goswami Chidaya
Shri Bhakti Rakshaka Deva Goswami
O Patita Pavana Lila Vishari Bhuvane
Patita Pavana Lila Vishari Bhuvane
Baba
to you, Guru Maharaj of Sannyasi Kings, the Emperor. Glory Srila Bhakti Rakshas Sridhar Dev Goswami Sridhar.
Extending in this world your pastimes as Savior of the fallen, you delivered all the suffering souls, including the most forsaken.
Beholding your holy form of concentrated mercy, the fortunate souls fall in a swoon of divine love's ecstasy.
Your lofty form, full of divine emotions, is nectar to our eyes. With divine knowledge and shining eyes, your effulgence fills the skies.
A golden sun resplendent, enrobed of saffron dress, adorned with tulasi beads, and with sandal fragrance blessed.
Matchless beauty of your holy form, dazzling in its brightness, your benevolence of most noble heart, in the moon glow of love's sweetness.
Inconceivable genius, affection, gravity, magnanimity, a thunderbolt crushing mundane knowledge, the reservoir bestowing divinity.
In the golden Lord Sankirtan dance, you reveal ecstatically, Dayanitai, you ever call so lovingly.
Eternally present in Navadi Dome, with your associates by your sweet will, you enjoy your holy pastimes on hidden Govinda. You're the fit recipient of your dignity in the Acharya, assembling the jewel of the Deviya Siddhanta, adorning your chest so nobly.
You're the living message of Sri Gora. You're the mind of perfect conclusions. You relieved the idolatries in purport, the gem fulfilling all aspirations.
When you speak, one subject alone is revealed in ever new light. Proper adjustment and harmony, all these are your spiritual might.
All your dear God brothers declare unanimously they see within your holiness the line of Rupa Saraswati.
Seeing you take the holy name with tulsi beads in hand, awakens the thought of Saraswati Thakur in everybody's mind.
Your feet cooling like the millions moons, in day service all faith do I place. The nectar of Radha Govinda's pastimes, one day we may drink by your grace.
O personification of perfect conclusions, inconceivably one yet different, I sing this prayer at your arati with joy, your humble servant.
What page?
I think it's 178 or something. 178. 178. Amana Durmati Samsara Vitore Pariaya Chinuvami.
Amana Durmati Samsara Vitore Pariaya Chinuvami.
A wicked mind brought me into this world, O Lord. But one of your pure and elevated devotees has come to bring me out.
You saw me so fallen and wretched, took pity and came to me, saying, O humbled soul, please listen to this good tiding, for it will gladden your heart.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya has appeared in the land of Navadvip to deliver you. He has safely conducted many miserable souls such as you across the sea of worldly existence.
To fulfill the promise of Vedas, the son of a Brahmin, bearing the name Maharaja of golden complexion, has descended with his brother, the Avadut Nityananda. Together they have overwhelmed all of Nadia with divine ecstasy.
Sri Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, the son of Nanda, has saved the world by freely distributing his own holy name. Go also and receive your deliverance.
O Lord, hearing those words, Bhakti Vinod has come weeping to the source of your lotus feet and tells the story of his life.
Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jaya.
That's the next song. What was it again?
What are you doing?
It's 170.
It's 180.
180.
Yeah.
जानी की बोल
Don't sit so far back.
जानी की बोले sorry my boss Jaguru, Kijani ki bole tomaro dhamite, 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 Hainu sharanagato, Hainu sharanagato, Nidoyamai patito pavano, Very beautiful beginning of the song. Kijani means by what knowledge or intelligence. And Kibali means by what? Bale means by what strength. Did I come to the shelter of your feet? Actually, if we examine, this is a proper understanding of Sharanagati. That by surrendering to the Lord and surrendering to His devotees, we receive something more than we could imagine. And we can start to have that grasp that somehow we've come into connection with something, that it was beyond our ability to imagine before we came into connection with it. Then we understand it wasn't through my own knowledge, it wasn't through my own strength. Some type of divine grace I came in the proximity of. And our reciprocation with that divine grace has to be surrender. has to be a full giving of ourselves to that pure sweetness. By what personal knowledge or strength has one such as I come to your shelter? Surely it is by your mercy alone, for you are ever seeking the purification and deliverance of the fallen souls.
You're my only hope, for you are full of compassion and mercy. There's no one who needs your mercy more than I. You will surely drive away all fear.
No one else has the power to deliver me, O merciful Lord. By your declaration, kindly deliver this vile and lowly sinner.
I have given up everything and come to your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant and you are my protector and maintainer, O Lord of the universe.
Everything is yours. I am merely a servant, certain that you will deliver me. I have chosen your lotus feet as the only shelter. I no longer belong to myself.
Weeping, Bhakti Vinod takes shelter at your feet. Forgive his offenses. Afford him a taste for the holy name and kindly maintain him.
Jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, keep Jai.
Jai.
Sundar Prabhu, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Does this fall in the Sharanagati? Is this a song in there, in the chapter of embracing the Lord's guardianship? Is this in that chapter?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the purports of this song is that something cares about me. The Lord cares about me. Somehow some mercy came to me that I didn't seek. I didn't understand. I didn't know enough to seek. So Gopivarna means confidence. Embracing his guardianship, it means we have to have some type of feeling of trust that the Absolute is our friend. And then we can finally let go and give ourselves to him. Because otherwise we feel suspicious of reality. So this idea, really, did I think of this? Because it was just, my own strength that I somehow found this? No. Actually, something descended and touched me. And when we understand that sweetness came, then we can have a little trust and drop our suspicion.
I think it's so nice that, like when Sudarshan Prabhu says this, we can all kind of like feel and glimpse how we've been hit in different ways at different times in that way, where Krishna has clearly come to touch us, come to help us. And each one of us is a unique individual, and Krishna knows our exact necessity. Krishna knows exactly what we need, and he has the kindness and the mercy to hit each one of us in a particular way that's going to enable us to come closer to him. So it's just such a merciful and kind reciprocal relationship that Krishna himself comes forward and allows us to enter into, allows us to begin to develop and return to that, that transcendental, loving relationship, which is the natural position for all of us.
And we can say, in the case of Srila Govinda Maharaj, if we understand who he is actually, and not that we're ever going to really understand. But Guru Maharaj says there's three levels of guru. One guru has both feet in the material plane, but they're looking in the right direction. So then, because they're looking in the right direction, they can point us in the right direction. Another guru has one foot in the material plane, one foot in the spiritual plane. They actually have spiritual taste, they have rasa. But also something a little mixed. Then there's another guru who's both his feet are in the spiritual plane, but he's reaching down.
It's a hybrid.
And Gurudev is actually Ragamarga Acharya. He's a real devotee of the Lord, beyond form, beyond formality, pure taste and feeling. And And that connection is not only available for those who are in his physical proximity. We understand this from Srila Guru Maharaj. But it is available because his own desire is to help everyone. Right? Like he himself said about Srila Guru Maharaj, Patita Pavana Lila. He says about Srila Sridhar Maharaj, you came here for your lila of saving the fallen souls. Nishtari la dinahina apamarajane, right? The dinahina, like the people who are like hopeless. You came to like give them the highest thing. And that's the whole line of Mahaprabhu. But Gurudev is, I mean, we all know he's known for being especially merciful and not looking at qualification. And that is inconceivable. And I think the more we start to understand little teeny drops of it, the more we realize it is inconceivable. Hare Krishna. Okay. Maybe we can sing one more kirtan. We can sing. Who wants to sing Gurudev's song? He always sings Jaya Radha Madhava.
What page?
Taramoy, can you sing this song?
No,
Yes, you can.
I can sing that song. I come here to listen to you guys.
It's on page 243.
Haridas Lani?
Oh, yeah. Krishnamani, come on.
Somebody lead. Who else is back there? Purushottam.
Purushottam, yes.
What page?
Purushottam the brave.
Jaya Radha Madhava.
Great like butter.
Shouldn't be done by a new person. I don't think so.
Which page did you read?
243.
243.
Jaya Radha. No?
Probably sing it like it's kind of like Prabhupada style. I think last time I tried that, it went off the rails. But
It's okay.
Season.
What?
You can sing it like that.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jagdamala Jaya
Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Braja, the holder of the great hill named Govardhan, the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the delighter of the inhabitants of Braja, and he wanders in the forest along the banks of the river Govinda.
We hear these things, and the river Jamuna, the banks of the river Jamuna. We'll all be able to go there and walk along the banks of the river Jamuna, and get some kind of small sense of what this song is and what the reality of the spiritual world really is. This is like we have such merciful opportunity to enter into these things, and it's not just theoretical. We don't just read about it. We can go there and experience it. Go there and walk along the banks, and not feel much, but feel something. Feel some sense of the spiritual world and the possibility of awakening our real spiritual self. Feeling it and seeing it right there. This is like the amazing mercy of our gurus, that they've given us this opportunity, and the opportunity by Krishna's will, by Krishna's grace, is directly manifest in the form of a transcendental realm that we can actually, go to and begin to experience, however little it may be. It is enough that will, each time transform our lives and bring us closer to, closer to the stage of being actual, real, surrendered servants of the Lord. Jaya Gurudev.
Jai.
I just want to say, I put Gurudev with the song. I remember him singing this. It's so strong.
It's a beautiful vibration in your heart, Kate.
Jai.
That will carry you very far, well. Hare Krishna. Okay, we can have some talks about Srila Gurudev now. Some memories from those devotees, or some feeling of realization. Can keep it somewhat brief if we can. But yeah, we'd love to hear from anyone who decides to share something from their heart.
Maybe Srila, if you could give a summary of Gurudev's life and pastime and stuff. Just to start us off.
All right, Maharaj, if you say so.
Cool.
I mean, sorry. Jaya, Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti, Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jaya, Baba Mahotsav Ki Jaya. Well, Srila Gurudev, we're all taking birth, and we take birth here and this and that. But these are descending Vaishnavas. They're not ordinary persons who take birth in an ordinary way. And we are all connected and feel dependent upon material nature for our existence. We feel the circumstances of my life must be in such a way that I will continue to exist. But this is not true. And they have come to not only tell us this news, but to bring us into connection with the atmosphere of the home of the soul. The body is maintained this and that way, whatever it is, you can say, although it's really maintained by absolute will. But we are not dependent on matter in any way, shape, or form. Not mental, not physical, intellectual, mystical, none of it. The soul is conscious unit of absolute giving to the center. That's who we are, and that's our home. But we are very bewildered. So the Lord came in the form of His holy name, and we cannot even chant that name without receiving it from Gurudev, because he has that seed of the holy name, whereby we can connect with the source of myself, the actual source of myself, not this body. This body is going to go. That seed is given by Guru. Krishna is coming to meet the conditioned soul, and that connection point is Gurudev. He is giving that. So how will we connect? We can't connect with the divine plane. We're so absorbed in the complete flux and changes of matter that we identify it. Like a person who's watching a movie, he's like, oh no, but he's not really, nothing's really happening to him. So we are like that. We're thinking, oh, this happened, and oh no, that's wrong. But that's not really happening to me. I am consciousness. Consciousness is steady. It has no cause. It's not caused by anything, and the essence of consciousness does not change with any circumstance. It is not material. So I just wanted to say that when we worship such a guru, who not only gives the seed of the holy name, so that we can connect through divine sound to the source of myself, but he nurtures us. Because one of the things about the soul, and those great souls who are eternally liberated personalities full of divine love, is affection. It is one of the qualities of the soul. And when that affection becomes pure, we will be able to enter into an atmosphere where there is not one atom that is taking anything. They're overwhelmed by the sweetness of giving, of devotion to the center. And they're mad for it. They can't give enough. The atmosphere is so beautiful, and that is home. When we leave Krishna out of giving, it's just a type of selfishness, really. So, sometimes we may be in a situation where for a minute or two we don't have any air, and we will realize how dependent we are on air. As a metaphor, we are so dependent in our real self on the mercy of the Vaishnava. Without it, we won't be able to live, actually. Our real self cannot live without that. So, we're trying to remember all these things. Srila Gurudev took birth practically in a stable. We saw that place where he took her. Very like a little shed, almost, you could say, in Bhamanpar.
There's in that video that Sachi Sundar made after Srila Gurudev left, there's a video, there's part that you can see the door opening and closing in that room where he's.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, you can see
yeah,
that.
And such a humble thing. But it was so fascinating to hear Gurudev talking about Bhamanpar. He said there were thousands and thousands of cows. So what kind of place is that? What kind of place is Bhamanpar? And one day, when we went to Bhamanpar, some kind of impression came. What is this place? It was rocks and trees and water and a pond, but it was different. And I asked Gurudev about that. Like, what is behind those things that we can perceive with our senses? There's trees there, but they don't seem to be ordinary trees. And there are rocks there, but they're glowing. they're wondrous, and the pond there looked like, I don't know, there was something wondrous, and I'm just a stupid person. But I asked Gurudev about that. And immediately, Jaya, Shri Guru Gauri Chandra, Jai Kiri. And immediately Gurudev started talking about Hapanya, the appearance day of Guru Maharaj. He didn't talk about Bamanpar, but he talked about Hapanya in the same vein. And he said, when one can see Hapanya properly, he will see Radha Kund. So when Krishna appears, he appears with his abode. And when the great descending Vaishnavas appear, we can know for sure and certain that appearance place is the highest realm of divine service. It is not an ordinary place. And the ground is made of Chintamani. That is why the dust of their holy feet can purify the universe. Chintamani is a servant of the Lord, and she can shrink and expand time and space, everything, for the service of Krishna. So we are wandering in these kinds of places, as Maharaj just mentioned, but in the mood of surrender and in the mood of hoping that my heart will do a 100% change from taking and thinking that even one atom exists for my enjoyment, to becoming a participant in the current of reality in which no speck of any substance is not worshiping Krishna. That is the plane of consciousness. And we have to try for the rest of our lives and beyond to come to that plane, because it is so glorious. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all Shuddha Sattva, perfect goodness. And it's all around us. It's just the dirt is in my own eye. I'm an offender. I think I can use this substance for myself, and therefore I'm blind. So anyway, Srila Gurudev was really happy with that comment about Bamanpar. And then of course he continued to speak about, so this is the place where Gurudev set his lotus feet upon the earth for the upliftment of the universe. Jagadguru is not an expression of exaggeration or some poetry. The great Vaishnava can purify the Veda. There is no part of the universe which is not purified by the rays of the toes of his feet. That's the fact. If we study these things carefully in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we can understand there is nothing in this mundane world that can compare to even a particle of dust in the holy feet of the great Vaishnava. The Jaya. Abhirbha Maha Mahotsav Jaya Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj. May he
Jaya.
always bless us eternally. Ki Jaya.
Yeah, a little bit. But, you know, whenever I think of Srila Govinda Maharaj and his kindness, I kind of just see Govinda Maharaj is at a car, and he's inviting us to come and sit in the car with him. He's just so amazing, because, you know, before there was Srila Prabhupada, he was so kind and giving so much, but nobody got to, well, maybe now and then someone got to ride with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I can remember in Chicago, he would bring him prasadam, and he would always quietly take his prasadam in his room. And at the time of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, after Srila Prabhupada sent us there, Srila Sridhar Maharaj also would just be taking his prasadam in his room. But Srila Govinda Maharaj, when he had prasadam, he would invite us all to sit with him. And at first all the men came in, and Govinda Maharaj would say, "Where's the ladies?" And we're like, "What?" Because, you know, for someone of that stature to be in that kind of mood is just like completely mind-blowing. Srila Govinda Maharaj was like absolutely on a spiritual, transcendental level of wonder and kindness and love. And he just, you know, we got to be nearby that. And just by being nearby that was like a reinforcement, a certification of the reality of what, you know, Srila Prabhupada had tried to give us, what Srila Sridhar Maharaj had illuminated for us. Srila Govinda Maharaj was like the practical living example of what it is to be a disciple. You know, what it is to give your life to your guru. In that kind of mood, Srila Govinda Maharaj, his real self, he presented that to us and gave us the opportunity to begin to understand, however little we could understand, nonetheless to understand something about what it is to be a disciple and what it is to, you know, try at least to, you know, give our life or try to give our life in service to our Gurudev. Govinda Maharaj brought the whole thing to life. He was, you know, and continues to be so kind and so merciful. And, you know, particularly somehow or other in the line of our gurus, we see such individual beauty and kindness and reciprocation in so many different ways. But particularly Srila Govinda Maharaj like glows in his outgoing, outgiving mercy. You know, it's just the way he is, the way he'll always be. And even those of us who didn't have the chance maybe to directly contact him, you know, it was obviously so much easier to be with him and to sense him and to feel and to, you know, him giving himself, just like sense that and feel. But nonetheless, the potency of the pure Vaishnava is that he's accessible. He'll always be accessible, eternally accessible. Each one of us, in our own individual hearts, you know, take some time and just pray individually and directly to the lotus feet of Srila Govinda Maharaj to be with us, to help us, to show us, you know, what to do in our lives to grow and, you know, and develop the Krishna consciousness. Govinda Maharaj is there for all of us, and we have that. You know, that was his nature, that was his reality, and that's his eternal, you know, his eternal being. So all of us, every one of us has the opportunity to, you know, begin to tap into that. And particularly on days like this, when we focus ourselves on Srila Govinda Maharaj, it's to help us. You know, we worship him, we honor him, to help ourselves, actually. That's the only, you know, that's the only qualification that we have, is that we try to serve. And in that, you know, attempt to serve, we get such merciful, like, reciprocation coming from Srila Govinda Maharaj. So all of us, you know, take in our hearts, pray today to come closer and closer to him, to come closer and closer to, you know, the mercy of the message and the living example that he, you know, he gave to us and he showed for all of us. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar, Govinda Dev, Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Sorry, I apologize that you have to hear me. This is horrible. I just give a very brief, maybe biography of Gurudev. For those that don't know, Gurudev was born in 1929 in Balampur.
I think this would be his 97th birthday.
Yes, today would be his 97th birthday. And Balampur is about 6 miles from Hapania, where Srila Guru Maharaj was born. So it's very close, the same, you could say, mandala. And all of it is in Gauda Mandala, which is the place of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. And in 1947, Gurudev was just about 17, he came to the feet of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he never left. He came to Navadvip. After a brahmachari came to preach,
What was his name?
his name was Sudarshan Das. That wasn't me.
Yeah, when we told Gurudev this was his name, Gurudev was very happy.
And his pastime of coming to the mat was very interesting because no very developed soul, they have this mood toward reality that it's very dancing. And Gurudev said, my nature is if someone ever asked me something, I would say yes. That's a very, very amazing way to live. Amazing way to live. Because something's moving and you don't know what it contains. And to move with it, a very amazing idea of life. But at the same time, it's a very, it's like a cracking kind of thing in an Indian family for someone to go live in a mott. You know, a monastery is like, especially in 1947, that's no joke. That's like a commitment for life. So Gurudev felt responsible for his family, he's the oldest son. But at the same time, this brahmachari is telling him, hey, you should come meet our guru, come to the mat. The Gurudev wants to say yes, but at the same time he knows that it's going to be a devastating blow to his family. And so he said, yes, but we have to go right now. And then the brahmachari's like, all right, let's go right now. And they went and they jumped in the Ganga and swam across and came to the mat.
In the dark.
In the dark.
Yeah, if you've ever been there, it's not a short trip either, swimming. It's like
No, and at that
close
time
to
there
a
were-
mile across sometimes, right? I
Yeah,
think so, yeah.
and at that time there's a lot more living entities
Crocodiles.
than there are now. Especially some serious crocodiles at that time.
You know, you have to be basically an athlete because they first have to walk to the Ganga, swim across the Ganga, and then end up in the mat. And Gurudev used to say like, oh, when everyone would sleep in the afternoon, I would climb up and down all the trees, like to the top of trees. They're thinking like, because we got to meet Gurudev in a very different chapter of his life. You know, but the person who ran miles and swam across the river in a storm and arrived in the dead of night into the mat, some other story.
So that was 1947. And Gurudev stayed with Guru Maharaj until his departure in 1988. And very early on, Gurudev was recognized by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Now, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is known by all his godbrothers as actually Shastra Nipuna. I mean, we've heard that term before, but there are very few people who are actually Shastra Nipuna. I mean, if you watch Guru Maharaj's talks on YouTube or anything, it is actually just mind-blowing how people come to him with any kind of question. And Guru Maharaj is like reciting slokas about the most, like encyclopedic question.
Exactly appropriate shlokas, right?
But it's not just that he knows the shlokas, that he knows the meaning, as Srila Govinda Maharaj said. He is the mind of perfect conclusion, Susiddhanta Murti Dhara. He's the Murti of Susiddhanta, of perfect spiritual conclusions. But that Srila Sridhar Maharaj said about Srila Govinda Maharaj, he has some novel realization. Novel realization, in the words of Guru Maharaj, is like high praise. Because both Srila Gurudev and Guru Maharaj says, we are not form makers, we're form breakers. Form breakers means inevitably, by the influence of the Mayic energy, some truth is going to be overcome by fundamentalism. And then everyone will think that the form causes the spiritual result. And it's not that way. So that form has to get cracked again and again. And I can say, being around Gurudev as a very simple formalist, that I hope to not be one day. Gurudev would crack your ego, crack your formal conceptions. In a very nice way, with a smile.
Crush you with a smile.
But, that's what Guru Maharaj appreciated that, because that means living spiritual substance is there. And then Gurudev was actually Ragamarg Vaishnava in an Acharya form, which is very difficult, because Acharya generally means example. Acharya means he's going to present the picture to the masses, that the masses need to make some advancement. But Gurudev would also show little hints which are disturbing to people in an undeveloped state, that can be disturbing to people in an undeveloped state, that formality that everyone's struggling so hard to maintain is actually not the fundamental thing. And I found it extremely disturbing, I can say that. But now that I look back upon it, what a grace and a mercy to not allow us to be caught up in some mechanics. Always breaking it. The Mat is like revered because of Srila Guru Maharaj's position. And Navadip is a place that was made by the followers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And the followers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur means the followers of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And those devotees who actually had personal association with Saraswati Thakur are extremely intense and shining in their own certain way, just from their own tapasya of their life and their life of sacrifice. And all of those great sannyasis would go to the Mat. Whenever they had some conundrum, whenever they had some philosophical question, whenever they had any type of disagreement between themselves, they would go to see Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And who did Srila Prabhupada go to see the first trip back to India? The first place he went was Chaitanya Saraswat, to see Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And so those types of personalities, like even when I was there, when Babaji Maharaj came, who was worshipping at Gorkadadhar Temple, which is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's own deities. And I found out that his name was Nayanananda Das Babaji, and he was a disciple of of Saraswati Thakur. These are the types of personalities that would go see Govinda Maharaj, even after Guru Maharaj left. And Gurudev was such a form breaker that where he sat in his veranda, where everyone greeted him, was a big bottle of wine behind his head. Just to disturb everybody who came in, but also to make them question. And it was a bottle of wine that was given very innocently by some Chinese devotees. And they're just what's the nicest present you can give? It's this super big, expensive bottle of wine. The Gurudev appreciated that. He put it right on the shelf behind his head. So everyone's just coming in there going
So now we are drinking.
I never saw God get opened. But he's showing that the offering, the feeling of the offering is much more important. And always his teachings were like that. So to live in the association of an actual Ragamarg Vaishnava is taking you through layers and layers of conscious barriers. All these levels that we're talking about, they're all conscious barriers to actual love. And when we look at Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamritam, there's so many very fine little things that exclude you from Brajadham. Very fine. But because that's there, you cannot be a part of those deeper pastimes of total freedom and love. So how is it possible for us to somehow be connected with that highest plane of loving play of the Divine Absolute? Actually, it's only by the grace of a real Vaishnava. Because, the Lord's pastimes are full of uncertainty and surprise. When you read Krishna book, you see the story of the sacrifice of Yudhishthira in the Rajasuya, where Yudhishthira, as he's making this sacrifice, he makes Krishna the guest of honor. And all the praise is being given to him, all the gifts are being given to him, all the vibhuti from the sacrifice is being given to him. And Shishupal has like a list of like immoralities that Krishna has committed in his life. And he's so disturbed that Krishna's receiving this mercy that he gets up in front of the Rajasuya and he's just like, this guy! This is the guy that you guys are worshiping! Are you serious? And it's like, how are you going to get cured of your own inner Shishupal? That's a very fine thing within the plane of consciousness. And that's, we can say, in the wave of mercy from Srila Govinda Maharaj. So, knowingly or unknowingly, we have somehow come into his connection. And really just by grabbing onto his feet and holding onto them, we can be carried through so many layers of consciousness to the plane of absolute love. Gurudev came to this planet. Can I explain it? No. We're somehow in this room. Can I explain it? No. But what we can resolve to do is to try to whittle down our millions of desires, millions of splayed priorities that are constantly bothering us in the 60 minutes of each hour where we probably have 120 or more different priorities, right? And try to make it one priority that everything else is subservient to, which is to take shelter of Srila Gurudev and to whatever extent we can, to try to give our life in service to what he desired of us, because it's only good for us. Jaya Shri Gurudev ki Jaya. Anyone else?
Tarmo, did you like to say something?
Oh my God.
Tarmo, you want to say something?
Well, after all it's been said, all I can say is that I feel so grateful to ever come in contact with Srila Gurudev and be part of his glorious preaching movement and practicing of this real Vaishnava philosophy and then things that are like very simple to us, things that sound simple, like his favorite slokas and things he always constantly repeated to us, and simple things like we have heard that before of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj being like form breakers and sustenance. And there's so much bad interpretation about it. But we had the mercy to have a clear idea what it's like, what is it about. Like you're saying here, like who can say, I know Gurudev, like I've met him, I know him, I really have no idea. But I have seen his miracles, his glorious pastimes, and being part of it is like we kept saying, oh, we are so lucky, he is so merciful. And yeah, we are so lucky and he's so merciful, but keep going, it'll be a miracle also, so that's all I pray for. And have your association if possible, as much as possible, and just being grateful. And never forget what he has done for me and all my environment, like family and families that not even like
mirror the philosophy, but somehow make them to be favorable and be part of it in a minimum way. It's just like countless mercy. And this is something that we really every day have the opportunity to remember.
Remember.
Okay, we gotta remember.
We gotta remember, yeah, what she said.
Dandavat pronouns to all of you, and glories to Gurudev.
You were initiated by Srila Prabhupada in Caracas, huh? Where was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What time? What year?
What year? 1970.
71?
No, 73.
73, okay.
Very bad.
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Then I read
Of course, yeah.
and then he gave me the mercy of becoming his
Right.
follower of his mission and followers and disciples and he gave me also. And gave me everything I have.
Oh, you're done?
Krishna Mohini, baby. Jaya Samoi Didi Ki Jaya.
Krishna Mohini?
Jai Shri Gurudev. Shagananjana Salakya Chakshir Mulitanjana Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Okay, I always remember Srila Gurudev saying devotion over emotion. Unfortunately, I get very emotional, but I just was thinking, I was thinking about this, actually I've been thinking about this for the last few weeks, about how incredibly fortunate I feel to be in association with all of you. And you are Srila Gurudev's gift, and your mood and everything that you know is coming from him. And it's like such a boon in my life to have the association of all of you. And I just think about Srila Gurudev and how kind and loving he was, and how he was always caring about us. Like if he found out one of us was in India, we were sick, he would call for a doctor to come to see us. But all of that kind of caring, loving that he did for us, I feel here in Salt Lake City with all the devotees and all the devotees throughout the world. And I just feel like it's like you go through so many hard things in your life, and we have no idea what it would be like to go through them without all of you. I have no idea. I can't even fathom it. But I'm just very, very grateful. And I mean, I remember Srila Gurudev would talk about angry men. Like there were certain devotees that were kind of famous. Men devotees were kind of famous for being angry, but I am an angry woman. I had so much anger in me all the time, and he's just so good at, and I go to you all, and you are so helpful in helping me to understand how to let that stuff go, and it's, I can see that it is slowly making some dent in me. But I just remembered this one day. It was actually in the year that Srila Gurudev stayed in SoCal for 6 months. It was on Christmas Eve, and Vaishnavi, who I hope all of you know, is one of my dearest friends on this planet. God love her. I remember Srila Gurudev talking about Vaishnavi when he came to Australia. Years before, he was talking about one lady who was giving $1,000 a month to the cows. And I always thought, who is that? Who was it? And I never knew. And then years later, she and I were driving, and she was talking about how she was leaving Navadvip, and she remembered that she had this $1,000 in her pocket, and she went back and gave it to Srila Gurudev for the cows. And then she started sending him, because she had a kind of a successful business, I mean, she was sending him $1,000 a month for the cows. I thought, it's you! Oh, wow! So anyway, well, one day we lived together for a couple of years with her kids and Kamala and my brother. But anyway, she and I had this fight one time. And I was so angry because I have so much anger inside of me. And it was Christmas Eve, and Gurudev was in his room in SoCal. And I drove up to the temple, and I parked outside underneath his room, and I sat there crying. I was so mad. I was like, take this out of my heart. I don't want this anymore. Please, Srila Gurudev, save me from this anger. I hate this anger, and it's in me. Anyway, then I just drove away and I just left. The next day, my sister came to visit me from the Bay Area, and I took her to see Srila Gurudev on Christmas. And it was just her husband, herself, Pushpa Krishna was there. I can't remember if there was, Ranuja must have been there, I can't remember who else was there, but they were talking about so many things, and in the middle of it, Pushpa Krishna says, Gurudev, Krishnamani has helped Vaishnavas so much. And he looked at me and he said, what the sweetest face, the sweetest smile. And there is no greater service than to help a Vaishnava who's in distress. And with that, all gone. Forget about it. I immediately left that room and I ran to find her, and we were crying and hugging. It was like,
wow.
It was like, oh my gosh, Srila Gurudev was so amazing. But that mood of serving the devotees is how we please our guru, is so attractive and makes your life so sweet. And I remember my father came to visit me. My father has 10 kids. Okay, I was the third one, and he came to visit me in Australia. And when he left, and my father was a surgeon. Okay, he was kind of a famous surgeon in Kansas City. He was like the doctor for the Chiefs and different things at different times in life. But he said to me as he left, "You're wealthier than I will ever be." And I looked at him and said, "Dad, what do you mean?" And he goes, I don't have friendships like this. Because that's the whole time he was with me, that's all he did, with devotees, right? He goes, and there isn't any greater wealth. And I was like, that's true. That is so true, because it gets you through everything. But all of you are so amazing in my life. And I'm so grateful to Srila Gurudev for giving me all of you. And thank you so much for tolerating me. But I don't know, I just woke up this morning thinking about this so strongly that I had to say this. But anyway, I'm just so grateful to Srila Gurudev for this amazing association that I've had for the last how many years? I don't know. Since 1992 on the first world tour. But anyway, thank you. All of you. Dandavat.
Amazingly auspicious your father could see like
I know.
that. Wow.
And Srila Gurudev gave my father an amazing send-off after he left.
Really?
Yeah, I think I told you.
I think you did, yeah.
It's your time to go.
Yeah.
Jai Gurudev. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai. One Gurudev Namaha. Jai Srila Gurudev. Jai Gurudev. Happy birthday to me. He said that to me when I walked in. I said, in Navadvip, I walked in his room. I said, Jai Gurudev, happy birthday. And he said, happy birthday to me. Gurudev's name was, what, Dharma Das? Was it Dharma? He was born,
Govinda.
Gorindu. No.
No, that was his initial.
No, that was his second
yeah,
name.
sorry.
First name was Dharma, I think.
Oh, the name his parents gave him?
Yeah. Starts with a D. When I think of Gurudev, I just think of Nityananda because his dad was Nitai Pada, and the deities in Vamanpara are their generation. They've been in the generation for like, how long? Over, I don't know, 1,000 years or something. For a long time. Those deities have been around 100? No, more than that. And the parallels between Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj are amazing because Guru Maharaj's birthday is the same day as Virachandra. So it's just like
they are so connected in so many ways for, eternity. They're like always together. And I just, when I thought about that, I said, wow, this is a beautiful parallel between Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because Avira Chandra, they say he's more merciful than Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda is so merciful. And we're always praying to Nitai Gauranga and Dayal Nitai and I can speak for myself. I've come from such a fallen place in this Kali Yuga, in this life, and he's come to save the most fallen, and here we are. It's like we're qualified, and
come on, Didi, Harlem isn't fallen.
Well, I think it is where Srila Prabhupada first went to New York. So that was another thing that I wanted to mention, how Gurudev wanted me to go back there. I always mention this because I always feel bad about it. I even had one devotee say, well, who do you think you are, Srila Prabhupada? I was like, what? I just want to try to fulfill Gurudev's desire to have a center in New York, to have a beautiful center in New York, but it never happened, and maybe it'll happen one day. We do have devotees in New York that are serving there and spreading the glories of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. Anyway, I am so lost for words on this day, and I just know that my Gurudev is very merciful, and he's been extremely merciful and kind and tolerant to me and to all of us, actually. And so many sweet reflections and pastimes with him in Sri Navadvitam, the things that I'd actually rather say something about him and about his life, but I get so lost for words when I'm confronted to speak. So I'm just grateful to be here. And I would like to say that if you guys can pick up the book, The Dignity of the Divine Servitor, it's a very amazing book. Gurudev has given us so many sweet books, Reveal Truth, Affectionate Guidance, and Dignity of the Divine Service. Dignity of the Divine Servitor. He even told Goswami Maharaj to and Srila Sridhar Maharaj told Goswami Maharaj to please just try to serve Srila Govinda Maharaj. And it's just amazing. He meant so much to Guru Maharaj. He meant everything to Guru Maharaj. And if it wasn't for Gurudev, we wouldn't have that connection. Actually, when I came to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat, I came to meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and then I met Gurudev. I didn't know anything about Gurudev when I came to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat. But because I was inquiring about Srila Sridhar Maharaj, I got his connection. And I told him, when I was in Australia once, I said, but Gurudev, I feel like I'm your disciple. He said, that's because you are my disciple. And he said, everyone before 1985 is a disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. After that, you are my disciple. And then he took my beads and he chanted on them again.
Joy.
That was in Australia.
Sweet.
And anyway, he's just very merciful. We can try to hold on to his instructions and follow those devotees who are really, really practicing what they preach. And so many wonderful ladies in our mission. We have a very strong ladies section. Gurudev was always very fond of the ladies section. And we have some great men also.
You used to say, why can't the men be like the ladies? Yeah.
And but you know, everyone who is great and has some great qualities is just a reflection of Srila Gurudev. You know, whatever we do for him, and we have to always remember that. And I know we do, you know, because even I try to live for him every day and try to do things for him every day and act for him every day. Because he's so heart-capturing. He captures everybody's heart. And once you get a taste, there's no going back. Okay, I'll go now. Anyway, I'll probably think of tons of things to say when I pass the mic on, but if you can go to the website scsmott.com is full of nectar of Gurudev on this day, and full of stories, and just full of sweetness and love and affection. His Samadhi Mandir is the Samadhi of love and affection, so that wasn't just a coincidence. And I will say that Acharya Maharaj did a miraculous service when he built Bhaman. So many ginormous festivals there in glorification of Srila Gurudev. And Acharya Maharaj did amazing service for him. He will never be forgotten. And I just needed to say that the Lord is very merciful. He sees our goodness, our good qualities. He can see the bad, but he doesn't meditate on that. And Gurudev can see all of that too. He can look right through you and see past and present and future. He said our future is very bright. Yeah, our future is very bright. Yeah. And if we knew, we would be shocked if we knew what we were in contact with. So anyway, I'll just pass it on. We're so fortunate. And this mission is very glorious. The Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And he's done so much amazing service for Srila Guru Maharaj to allow all of us to come to the lotus feet of Govinda. Hare Krishna.
Can you give it to Brother Rohini? Oh, and Akshay, sorry.
It's getting late, not very long. I'm just reflecting on that day, that actually to what it means to cultivate the heart without daily reflection of how we can improve on our affectionate relationship with Gurudev. It's impossible to do so. So without constant reflection of And this is very miraculous that Gurudeva's appearance is actually made that miracle for us, that in his absence, in Vipralamba, we are really deepening our affection for him. I thought it's never possible. If you did not develop affectionate relationship with your Guru when he is alive and when he's with us, then how to do it when he's gone? It's actually very possible, and it's actually pushing that direction, almost miraculously, really. I don't know what kind of energy is that, but it's very beautiful and very miraculous energy to feel Gurudeva's presence in that way, and to really reflect on what it really means to have an affectionate relation with Guru, and how this has really propelled us toward cultivation of the heart, cultivation toward Krishna consciousness. So that's all I can say. No, everything else. It's said without the words that I'm very fortunate to be here, obviously, and on a very fast track, because I just came to visit you a few weeks ago, and it just happened I live around the corner. So it's pretty amazing. Jai Shri Gurudeva.
We all know Brajamohini Didi, and I would say, Gurudev was extremely affectionate with Brajamohini Didi. She wrote him a letter early on, and when he went to clean his rooms in Govardhan, that letter was right next to his bed. So, very special, loving relationship, but she's hiding, so you get to associate your divine sound.
He said that she was on his suicide squad. He had a suicide squad, women that would go out and just sacrifice everything.
Om Aganik Tamrandasya Garanjana Salakaya Chakshurmaitanyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurvabhishta Subritam Guru Ganana Shisha Samushitam Jincha Samashtabeda Nipunam Shri Rupa Pantanagam Govinda Vidamoshalam Bharatanam Bhaktiamitam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Shah Divya Bhagavat Prema Bija Pranam Dandavat. I don't have any, as we hear in the scriptures, that everything that we have is by the grace of our gurus. And this day I feel so much pressure on this day because I just feel like wanting to try to glorify, and it's impossible, and impossible for me anyway, and I didn't prepare anything. There's a beautiful article on Sri Gaudiya Darshan. It's actually written by Srila Gurudev, and I would love to read the whole thing, but I know that everybody's getting a little antsy and wants this to be finished. So I will read maybe just the last couple paragraphs, but it's really beautiful. And it was written by Srila Gurudev on Guru Maharaja's appearance day. And I'll just read a little bit of it. In all the scriptures, Sri Gurudev has been glorified as being non-different from Lord. When the Lord eagerly appears before us, the troubled souls, to bless us, we behold Sri Guru's form and become fortunate. We are extremely troubled souls. Our forgetfulness of our true selves is so severe that although we are disgusted with our extremely painful acts of aversion to the Lord, we cannot even slightly cast our eyes toward the direction of cutting away the illusion of that aversion. We are so absorbed in our relationship with our body, this bag of flesh and bones, that nothing comes into our thoughts without relation to it, and thus we do not think of anything except the body. Why has this happened? Why are we undergoing this sort of worldly suffering, hellish suffering? Why are we not able to satisfy ourselves even after endeavoring from sunrise to sunset, day and night? Why are our great endeavors for happiness all fruitless? Why are there only outbursts of discontent all around me? Why doesn't the curtain drop on this heart-rending scene for troubled souls like me? Why? Why is the heavy current of this world so cruelly oppressing all of the souls here? Can we even once calmly inquire about the reason for this? And why can't we? So unfortunately I'm going to skip ahead, but there's beautiful verses here, and then maybe on another day we can read this whole article. It's not really that long. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Conscious Being, and He is not only a conscious being, He is Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means eternal, Chit means conscious, and Ananda means joyful, an ocean of rasa. In Srila Rupa Goswami's language, He is the Akila Rasamrita Murti, the embodiment of the nectar of all pleasures. The soul is also eternal and Anuchit Ananda, minutely conscious and joyful. The soul is entitled to the fortune of the joy of service, seva. The Lord's service is the dharma of the soul's own eternal self. Situated marginally, however, souls deviate from their duty, from their dharma, as a result of misusing their independence. When the soul becomes intent upon selfish enjoyment instead of the dharma of the self, that is, instead of the Lord's service, the joy of service to the embodiment of happiness, the embodiment of joy, Krishna, Maya Devi gets the chance to place her noose around the soul's neck. And from then on, the soul, undergoing the results of forgetting the Lord, wanders throughout this material world. There's some more verses. And I'm going to skip ahead just to this verse. Ramanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavana Jeev Kuru Krishna Prasada Pai Bhakti Latabish from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. While wandering throughout the world, a fortunate soul attains the seed of the creeper of devotion, faith, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And lastly, Krishna Charana Kalpa Vriksha Kari Arohana. The creeper of devotion climbs into the wish-fulfilling tree of Krishna's feet. This is Sri Gurudev's external identity. Actually, without the mercy of Sri Guru, the soul cannot attain any spiritual fortune at all. Thus, Sri Gurudev's position is Varvarti Sarvopari, existing above all. Thus, the practice of worshipping Sri Guru before worshipping the Lord is mandated. Thus, Gurudev's capability to protect one even when the Lord becomes angry is renowned throughout the scriptures. We are so averse, however, that we consider Sri Guru Pada Padma to be immortal and simply increase our offensive mentality. We do even develop understanding of the Lord's words of caution. The Lord says, "Know Sri Gurudev to be my own non-different form, faithfully worship him, and thereby you will attain all fulfillment." Yet we with behavior that the opposite of this are becoming even more fallen. Nevertheless, Sri Gurudev is the embodiment of intense compassion, the savior of the fallen, and thus, despite our hundreds of offenses, he does not stop consoling us. We hear from the beginning to end the teaching that the Lord's power manifests on certain days. The appearance day of Sri Guru, however, is more merciful than any other day. Sri Guru Pada Padma appears on one day of the year and with special affection blesses us by giving us the special opportunity to fully worship him. Not only those who can offer themselves to truly serve this holy day are fortunate. By their birth, Vasudhar Va Vasatis Chadanya, their residence and community also become fortunate. So all glories to the divine appearance of Srila Gurudev, Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jaya.
What were you reading, brother?
So this is, there's a website, older website,
Gaudiya Darshan, this is from Jagamash.
GaudiyaDarshan.com. Yeah.
And what's the name of the article?
The name of the article is, I just lost it.
Yeah, it's just if you search up Sri Guru.
That was transcribed from Srila Gurudev's.
Yeah, it was an article that he wrote like in 1956 or something.
Oh, wow.
And it was something that he wrote in glorification of Srila Guru Maharaj.
Amazing.
Gurudev's metaphors are amazing. A bag of flesh and bones. You can just like see it.
Can I make a small request? Can I ask Madhuri Ma if she will say a couple words, because you are Srila Gurudev's disciple, and assuredly, and not brand new. So something's keeping you here, something's keeping you alive, some mercy, some grace. And if you would be kind enough to share a little bit of that, we would be so happy to hear.
Jaya.
Dandavat.
Dandavat.
I'm gonna speak really briefly. What can I say after what we just heard from true followers of Gurudev? I can say that meeting Gurudev has profoundly changed my life. And it keeps changing it. It's a life, very life process in our lives. We hear from our acharyas, Gurudev gave medicine for all of our afflictions in our hearts and in our minds. We hear that Gurudev was an example of somebody who satisfied all of desires of his Gurudev. And we only hope and pray that one day we can have some of that kind of quality in us. I cannot speak so much about Gurudev, I have not spent so much time with him, but I feel I can speak about his true followers, the devotees that has given their life year after year, decades after decades. And to be in the presence of such a soul, such a dedicated soul, is truly our most highest fortune. There's no anything more in life than that. My sincere Dandavat.
Anyone else like to speak, please?
Bruce.
Oh, excuse me.
Dandavat, everybody. Now, with all these high talks that we're hearing, I'm going to bring it down to a very low level.
The real thing.
Try your best.
Well, unlike people in this room that are around my age, and we're not going to mention any names like Nyasi Maharaja or Srila. And I mean, there's no names being mentioned here. It's just that. I was actually initiated by Gurudev 6 months before my 50th birthday, Okay, so I'm not like the other stalwarts of devotees who got initiated like in 1902 or something like that, like they were talking in 1901. So, so I'm here at, going to be 50 years old, and how I came about to Gurudev was a long story, but I'm not going to get into that because we don't have enough time. But what happened, I need to tell you how my character was. When I came up to the ashram in San Jose, oh, sorry, that's all right. And I walked in that ashram. When Kumkum Didi opened the door, I swear, and this is, New Age stuff and sci-fi and beyond, there was an aura coming out of that door.
Yeah.
And I'm wow, it was so bright. I said, geez, something's wrong here, So she invited me in, and she already knew who I was coming, so that was good news. So she invited me in, and it was kind, and she walked me into the temple. And now this is where I was at. This is how really downcast I was, low caste, whatever. I walked in and I saw, first of all, I saw these pictures of these guys, and that's how I presented them, these guys. I looked at them, on the wall when you walked in, and I asked Kumkum, and poor Kumkum, I said, who are these guys? And they look kind of old and stuff like this, and there's pictures there, and I was so offensive, because I didn't know that. So I go in there, and then I see just to the left. I didn't see him first. To the left, I saw Guru Maharaja and beyond. But then to the left, I saw this picture, and it was Gurudev. I didn't know it was Gurudev. It was one of the guys, But I fell in love with that picture. I fell in love with Gurudev, and here I was, the guy of the world, And here I'm 49 years old, and I'm looking at this picture, and I'm falling in love with Gurudev, and just Gurudev, nothing else. I look over there. There's the Mahaprabhu, or I didn't even know what that was, But the issue was that Gurudev, I was just struck by him, and he just touched my heart, and I actually, and this is offensive, and I'm going to apologize for this. But I never joined Krishna consciousness. I joined Gurudev consciousness because of that picture. Just a picture that touched me so much that I didn't see anything else. So that's what I wanted to follow, that person there. And I didn't know any word of that. I just said, God, I lied. I just came into me. And then later on, I heard this term. I think it was Gurudev that first said, heart-to-heart transaction. And I said, wow, could this be a heart-to-heart transaction? I knew nothing, but yet I got everything at one time. And I didn't know what I got, because I didn't know anything about the mission or anything like this. So that's how Gurudev touched me. I mean, that's how mystical it really was. And it was just fantastic. And still is that mystical right now. And I don't know, how it happened. I don't know why, and I really don't care. It just happened. Wow, hey, I'm cool now, I'm part of the group. But I still have a hard time with Krishna consciousness. Guru consciousness, yeah, I'm there. Gurudev, yeah, mention, Gurudev first thing in the morning, last thing at night, yes, Gurudev. So I'm kind of like a Gurudev fanatic, and I apologize for that.
No apology necessary.
It's Jaya, Shri Gurudev.
I could testify after that. You think he was saying, my Gurudev. But we argue that he might be also my Gurudev.
No.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's super late. I'll say the words.
And we should do, we have some cool puja, right?
I was just thinking about what you just said, and I've been a witness of that too. That friends coming over I would invite them to see Gurudev, and I remember opening the door and seeing the shock of their face. Like they were like shocked by something, and I was like, you don't, or at least I didn't like saw it this way because I was used to, like being around devotees and seeing Gurudev, or maybe I was always trying to, and going back to it, so like trying to metaphors in maybe the very mundane way. I was listening to how drug addicts, they're in not only drugs, everything in the material world, we're looking to satisfy our senses, and one of the most powerful things most of the time for people that want to fulfill that emptiness is like these heavy drugs, because like the first time you try heroin, for instance, it's like you're out of your mind, and then you're always chasing that high. And thinking about that, and so many things that in life you start like questioning, and things you go through, you realize that you're always chasing that high of meeting Gurudev for the first time. It's like, wow, like nothing compares to that, but you're never gonna be that happy again. And obviously it's very emotional, and we try like to emulate it every time that we see him or we're with devotees, and I think it's the only way that to ever feel that is staying in association with him and his devotees.
And you got next lifetime.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly. That's our only hope. We only sing like, yeah, we only sing like very few of his persona, of his identity, and how magnanimous and merciful he was, and hoping to have a little bit more association in our next life, and hoping to feel that hug that he gave us every time he would see us.
Oh man.
I have, y'all probably know I have these pranic healer friends, and they spend all this time, developing their, so they can feel different energies and stuff. They came to see Srila Gurudev. They said they felt it when they drove onto Gurudev Gulch.
Whoa.
They could feel his, it was like, whoa, what's going on?
I think right.
So you're looking at me.
I just think it's miraculous that I even found my way here in this life. I just like, when you think of all the gazillions of universes and galaxies and things like this, just to find my way back into this association of Vaishnavas, and to have a connection with Gurudev again. What a blessing. I mean, wow. How did I do that? It's causeless mercy. We're not the doer. It's just the Lord's blessing, mercy, and guidance. I don't know what it is, but it just seems so, because I think about, I think we all think about dying a lot. And, how am I going to do this? But we're not. Just pray to Gurudev, and he'll give us guidance. So merciful.
Jaya.
Jaya Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj ki. I'll be as fast as I possibly can because it's super late, but that's just because everybody's heart has so many things overflowing. I mean, the real trouble here is, there's a really nice word in English, it's ineffable. And it means like you can't use, like words are always falling short. Like you can't imagine that there's actually anyone that's saintly until you come into contact with something. Whether it's from his followers, whether it's from the scriptures, where it's something outside of the kind of never-ending exploitive energy of the mind. And then when you come into contact with it, it's very shocking. But then the refinement of that will be that that's actually coming through a real person who has his own nature, but they're actually interfacing with reality. And so every time we see an interaction that's happening with reality, we feel shocked, actually, right? Because it's something different that's going on. And one of the things I think very noteworthy about Srila Gurudev is his followers were very unusual and variegated from each other in the extreme, so much so that they can't see in the other person how they're all following Gurudev almost, right? Because they're coming from such different perspectives. And that's something very amazing to meditate upon. Because it means that there's something much deeper that's occurring. And we also are called, as a follower of his, to try and find what's deeper. What is deeper that's actually occurring that Srila Gurudev is interfacing with in each person? Why is that person feeling inspired in that way? How am I feeling called on? And it's this idea of form breakers and rule breakers. It's very, very profound and very deep, right? Because we all have in our minds maybe some perfected idea of how we're supposed to follow, but Mahaprabhu himself is saying, Kiba Vripra, Kiba Nyasi, Kiba, right? I'm not any of these designations. Sutra Keneno. I'm not any of these designations on the external. I'm not a householder, I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not a this, I'm not a category of something. And Gurudev is also saying that, and recognizing and distributing that. And then you're going, well then what are we doing here, right? Because we're trying to put on different kinds of forms, and we're trying to, offer in some kind of structured way. And for sure, this is recognized in the Vedas. With great attachment towards rules and regulations, some freedom will be given to the soul. That's kind of the hopeful blessing of the sadhus and scriptures. But ultimately, that's not the thing. And Gurudev is pointing out that that's not the thing. And that's why we can feel disrupted from ourselves. Because if we think that we can follow spiritual life, quote unquote, perfectly, which already is problematic because we're flawed beings, so whatever our perfect offering is, it's flawed, right? It's like no matter what, and then people of great refinements, they're seeing their flaws at great speed and adjusting themselves. And you're going, whoa, who's that person, right? That's called, like Guru Maharaj's own words is, the person who can see their own flaws, that's their greatest wealth, right? That's their greatest wealth. And then you're starting to move into this inverted world. Like if I see my flaws, it's a wealth. If I have humility, something wonderful is occurring. And it's not these rules. So there's some expression of the heart that is pointed to, right? In Guru Maharaj's own words, he said all of the scriptures and everything, they are pointing. Krishna is this way, right? So you're searching through all of these different layers of what's going on, right? And sometimes we get into contact with something else. And we're hoping. Well, I often think, as a person who loves stories, you can hear a story and maybe you think about it a couple times, but that's about it. Some of them a little longer. But a divine story has some strange, pernicious, weaving effect, and it keeps looping through. And now you're not in contact with just an ordinary story, right? So then the story reveals, oh, it actually has another layer. Oh, sorry, it has 1,000 other layers. These are like what you're starting to move into. So then you're starting to say, oh, at first we hear there's a teacher. Then we hear, oh, he's actually very kind to the most fallen. Then we feel a little hopeful. Then many years are going by. And some of those words are starting to crystallize into something very different than what we originally thought. That's what we're talking about. The vibration, like the homeopathic vibration, can actually grow with time. It's not dissipating with time. And what we're being called to is to carefully and authentically offer ourselves to that. And if the Lord wills, if the environment wills, then we can share something of the authentic thing that's actually come into contact with us that disturbed the previous trajectory that we were moving in. And then what do you say? You can, you can't say like, oh, thank you. And I see Guru Maharaj's own illumination on the world. The word thank you was like very, almost lowly, that this is turned into some transaction. And I thought about it so much, like, wow, why are we not saying, thank you? And you're thinking, because a true expression of the heart, there's this full obeisances on the floor. There's something of I throw myself. And you're going what are the promises of this external plane? And we have to really kind of meditate on them a little bit. And Haridas talked about them a little bit, right? Those are the promises of that plane. And then you have to go, well, what is this other world that seems constantly pointed to? And offer ourselves sincerely towards that. And then maybe we'll have actually a glimpse of who Srila Gurudev is. And one thing Keshvananda used to quote all the time, and I thought about it, he said, Guru Maharaj's own words, he said, Guru Maharaj said that Gurudev is everything that I am and more. He's also mystical. And these are very, the significance of these sentences is extreme. Who's getting questions in their 90s in a simple village on the edge of a river with the most rustic of external circumstances, but whose premier philosophy will hold with the best thinkers of today, of the most erudite thinkers, and not just hold, but actually stand supreme. It's not just theistic. Okay, that's the beginning. And not just theistic and hopeful. That's amazing. Not just theistic, hopeful, and merciful, which is more than we can hope for. But full expression actually of love that's coming from the heart, right? And moving like a chakra through the most strange, disastrous time, you could say, right? Really kind of a disaster. This idea where Guru Maharaj is saying, actually, Kali Yuga is very fortunate because in this time the guardian needs to be more attentive because the environment is so harmful. I've been thinking of that so much. So Gurudev comes in that time period when the environment is most harmful with such a kind of unusual expression of what service to the Lord is. So anyways, Jai Srila Gurudev, may we serve you. Well, one thing was Gurudev followed Srila Guru Maharaj and they say, oh, he was the perfect disciple. And I often think of, that's such a high standard. I sort of try to think of myself as his errant disciple. Because perfect disciple is such a high bar, so sweet. So
What did you say, Ryan? What kind of disciple?
His errant disciple.
Errant?
Errant, it's
Errant, not arid.
Desertist disciple. No, errant. Anyways, Jaya Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki, Jaya Srila Bhakti Rakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj.
Okay, we can do some Guru Puja. We're doing Arti on behind the curtain right now. We're going to do Guru Puja and then Mahaprasad. Because it's already 2 o'clock. Okay.
Do we have flowers for the Guru Puja?
Yes.
songbook.
Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sarma Guru Charana Kevala Bhakti Sarma Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai. Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Dham ki Jai. Jai Navadip Dham ki Jai. Om Krishna Pashita Bhakti Rakshata Shri Gurudev Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Maharaj Church ki Jai. Jai of the devotees of Shri Gurudev ki Jai. And Navadip Dham Chaitanya Saraswat Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Darshan ki Jai. Gurudev Mahaprasad ki
Because you said you were limited.
Tulsi Maharani?
Jai.
Here, I can prove it to Govinda ki Jai.
Is the on the side?
Okay,
Yeah, we're like 2 minutes, like 6.
That's a joy.
Excuse me, excuse me. How is that offensive? I would understand that offense. It doesn't sound offensive to me at all. Gurudev. I think that's not offensive.
Good, thank you. Only one second.
I get it. That's what I want. We all get it. We all want it.
All right, guys, let's move off the carpet.
Calm down.
Was there a